Every man who has ever tasted freedom knows it's not given, it's earned. And the price of it is everything you thought you were. We are born into systems that tame us before we even know we're wild. Systems that tell us what to say, what to want, what to fear. Parents, teachers, religion, culture, each layer adds another chain. And by the time we're adults, we don't even realize we're in a cage. We just call it being a good man, doing the right thing, living a normal life. But beneath all that, something stirs. A voice that whispers, "This isn't it. This isn't you."
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
You feel it first as a quiet frustration. A sense that you're performing in a theater where the script was written by someone else. You're nodding, working, smiling, agreeing, but inside, something's dying. That is the beginning. That is the first crack in the illusion. And for those who don't silence it, for those who choose to listen, a brutal journey begins. Because to become the man no one can control is not a matter of rebellion, it is a matter of self-resurrection. You don't fight the system by shouting at it. You transcend it by becoming someone it cannot define. The first brutal stage is disillusionment. This is when the mask begins to slip. You start seeing through the roles you've been playing: provider, protector, achiever, nice guy, savior. You realize you've been building a life based on expectations, not truth. And that realization is devastating. Because you see how much time you've wasted, how many lies you've told, how disconnected you are from your own soul. It feels like a kind of death. And in a way, it is. The death of the false self. The ego screams. The world around you resists. But you begin to pull away, not from others, but from the illusions you once called reality. You start to question everything. Why do I do what I do? Who am I trying to impress? Whose approval am I still chasing? You begin to notice how often your actions are rooted in fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being alone. And you start to realize something terrifying. You have been controllable your entire life because fear has been your master. The world doesn't need to chain you. It just has to keep you afraid. Afraid of disappointing others. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of your own power. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And to master yourself, you must first confront your fears, not avoid them. This confrontation leads to the second stage, isolation. When you stop playing the game, people get uncomfortable. When you speak truthfully instead of politely, when you stop agreeing just to keep the peace, when you set boundaries without apology, people will call you arrogant, selfish, cold. You will lose friends. You may lose family. You will feel like you're walking through a desert, stripped of everything familiar. And yet, this is necessary, because in solitude, your real self begins to emerge. Not the self that was designed to please others, but the one that was buried beneath expectations. You begin to spend more time alone, not out of despair, but out of necessity. You start to enjoy your own presence. You start having thoughts that aren't echoes of others. You begin to see the world not through the lens of approval, but through the lens of truth. And it is in this space that your inner voice becomes louder. That voice has been there all along, but now finally you're listening. And what it says is not always comfortable. It tells you where you've betrayed yourself, where you've played small, where you've been lying. And now you must choose, numb that voice again or follow it into the unknown. Most don't. Most go back to the comfort of the herd, back to the illusion of belonging. But if you choose to keep going, you enter the third stage, confrontation. This is where the war begins, not with others, but with yourself. Every weakness, every addiction, every mask, every false belief, you must face it. You must dismantle the psychological framework that made you controllable. And this requires pain, real pain. The kind that breaks you open, the kind that exposes your wounds, the kind that makes you question your sanity. But this is where transformation happens. Not in comfort, but in chaos. You begin to see how much of your identity was built for protection. You weren't strong, you were agreeable. You weren't kind, you were afraid of conflict. You weren't humble, you had no belief in your own worth. And now, every lie gets exposed. You must rebuild yourself from the ground up. Not as a reaction to the world, but as a declaration of truth. You start developing discipline, not the kind taught in schools, but the kind forged in silence. You begin mastering your impulses, your emotions, your attention. You stop reacting. You start choosing. And with every choice rooted in truth, you become harder to manipulate. This is where people start noticing something different about you. You're no longer easily swayed. You're no longer desperate to be liked. You no longer seek permission. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. Not because you're louder, but because you're clear. You have presence. That is the beginning of power. Not power over others, but power over self. As Lao Tzu said, "He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty." And now you understand what that means. Because you are no longer acting from fear, you are acting from center. But this center is constantly tested, which brings you to the fourth stage, temptation. As you rise in truth, the world will try to pull you back. Opportunities will appear: easy money, shallow praise, seductive offers. You will be tempted to betray your values for short-term gain. You will be offered positions of influence if you just play the game a little. If you just bend the truth. If you just wear the mask again. And this is the most dangerous moment. Because now you have power. And power without principle is corruption. You must ask yourself, what kind of man do I want to be? Not what do I want to have? Not how do I want to be seen? But who am I when no one is watching? That question is the fire you must walk through. And if you answer it with honesty, you will begin to build something unshakable: integrity. Not the integrity of image, but the integrity of being. You become the same man in every room. You no longer perform. You no longer manipulate. You no longer explain. You simply are. And in that state, you begin to feel something you've never felt before: peace. Not the peace of comfort, but the peace of congruence. Your words and your actions match. Your desires and your values align. Your relationships reflect your truth, not your wounds. And this peace makes you untouchable. Because now no one can control you. Not with fear. Not with praise. Not with guilt. Not with love. You are free not because you escaped the world, but because you mastered yourself within it. Now pause and ask yourself, what part of you is still controlled? Is it your need to be liked? Your fear of being alone? Your addiction to validation? Your hunger for status? Where are you still giving away your power in exchange for comfort? And more importantly, what would it cost to reclaim it? To become the man no one can control is not a fantasy, it is a path. A brutal, beautiful, sacred path. And it begins the moment you stop asking, what do they want from me? And start asking, what is true for me? That question will cost you everything false, but it will give you everything real. When you arrive at the edge of your old identity, you stand before a choice that most people never consciously make. Do you step back into the comfort of control, where others shape your path, your speech, your schedule, your soul? Or do you step forward into the brutal, liberating unknown where no one can hold the reins but you? It is here, in this space of uncertainty, that the fifth and final stage begins, embodiment. And this is where most men fail, not because they lack strength, but because they lack the courage to live without a script. To embody the man no one can control is to stop performing. It is to stop seeking the applause of the crowd. It is to walk into rooms not wondering who likes you, but knowing who you are. You don't need to dominate, but you cannot be dominated. You don't need to argue, because your presence says enough. You have become a force not because you are aggressive, but because you are aligned. And this alignment is not loud. It is not flashy. It is silent, subtle, magnetic. You no longer react to the world, you respond from your center. But this embodiment must be earned daily. One of the great lies is that awakening is a one-time event. It's not. It is a practice, a discipline, a lifestyle. Every day, the world will try to pull you back into passivity, back into compliance, back into addiction to comfort, to approval, to distraction. And every day you must return to yourself. You must recommit. Not because it's easy, but because anything less feels like death. You begin to experience a strange paradox. The less you try to control others, the less others can control you. You no longer play power games. You know who you are. You are no longer triggered by insult or praise or silence. You are not interested in proving anything. You are interested in truth. And truth, when embodied, is the most powerful presence on earth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. And the wealth of truth is not what you hoard, it's what you live. This is where your relationships begin to shift. You no longer attract people who want to fix you, save you, or control you. You attract people who meet you, who see you, who respect you not for your mask, but for your essence. And those who cannot handle that presence, they fall away. Let them. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be true to yourself, even if that means walking alone. But strangely, the more you embody your truth, the less alone you feel, because you are no longer disconnected from yourself. And when you are connected to yourself, you are connected to everything. You don't need constant company. You don't need constant distraction. You can sit in silence for hours and feel more alive than you ever did at any party. Because your peace is not dependent on stimulation, it is rooted in sovereignty. You begin to notice how many people are still asleep walking through life, as if it were a script they didn't write but still agreed to follow. You don't judge them. You were once there too. But you also no longer dim your light to make others comfortable. You no longer shrink to fit into conversations that lack depth. You speak only what is true, and if silence is more honest, you choose silence. This is discipline. This is power. And power, real power, is not about control, it's about responsibility. You take full ownership of your life. No more blaming. No more excuses. If something is broken, you fix it. If something is false, you cut it out. If something is sacred, you protect it. You stop outsourcing your authority. You stop waiting for permission. You live like a man who knows that his life is his own. This is not easy. Every system you were raised in taught you the opposite. They taught you to obey, to submit, to follow. And now you are undoing decades of programming. That's why this path feels brutal. Because you're not just changing habits, you're burning down entire belief systems. And in the ashes, you are building a new foundation, one brick at a time. Truth, integrity, clarity, presence. These are your new pillars. But this doesn't make you invincible. In fact, it makes you more sensitive to lies, to manipulation, to fake smiles and hidden agendas. You see through people. You see through systems. You see through yourself. And because of that, your standards rise. You don't tolerate what you used to. You don't entertain what drains you. You don't chase what doesn't resonate. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You develop a kind of emotional sobriety. You no longer get drunk on drama. You no longer get high on attention. You stay grounded, clear, awake, and that clarity becomes your compass. When others are lost in chaos, you remain centered. When others react out of fear, you respond with wisdom. This is what makes you unshakable, not that you feel nothing, but that you are no longer controlled by what you feel. You learn to harness your emotions, not suppress them. Anger becomes fuel. Grief becomes depth. Fear becomes awareness. Joy becomes energy. You no longer fear your own inner landscape. You explore it. You master it. And because of that, others cannot use it against you. They cannot guilt you, shame you, or seduce you out of your truth. Because you've already seen those games and you've already won by not playing. And now, ask yourself, what would it feel like to live without apology, without false humility, without the need to explain yourself? What would it feel like to walk through the world completely untamed, but deeply rooted? Not wild in chaos, but wild in clarity. Not reckless, but free. Are you ready to carry that kind of presence? Because this is the final test. Can you live in truth without turning it into performance? Can you embody power without needing to display it? Can you hold boundaries without becoming rigid? Can you lead without needing followers? Can you love without losing yourself? You see, becoming the man no one can control is not about being above others. It's about being beyond manipulation, beyond fear, beyond pretense. It's about remembering who you are before the world told you who to be. and living that truth daily, in every room, in every relationship, in every breath. This is the fire. This is the crucible. And it is not for everyone. But if you've made it this far, something in you already knows. Something in you has already begun to awaken. And now you must decide, will you return to the comfort of the cage, or will you continue into the unknown? Because the unknown is where freedom lives. When you walk into the unknown, there is no map, no mentor, no applause, just you, your silence, and the weight of every decision you've ever made. It's here that you finally understand what it means to be sovereign. Not in the way books describe it, not in the way motivational speakers pretend to live it, but in the raw, bloody, sacred truth of it. You realize that freedom isn't comfortable. It's not glamorous. It's not even fun most of the time. Freedom is lonely. Freedom is responsibility. Freedom is the relentless discipline of being true to yourself, even when everything in the world, everything would prefer you to lie. At this stage, you no longer ask for directions. You ask for alignment. You don't chase goals to prove your worth. You move toward what resonates with your soul. You start living by internal authority, not external validation. You shift from reactive to responsive, from impressed to aware, from performing to embodying. You feel the difference in your breath, in your posture, in your presence. You walk into rooms and people feel something, even if they don't know what it is. That something is centeredness. That something is truth without effort. And now the world begins to test you differently. Not with distractions, but with distortions. You'll be offered power that appeals to your ego, not your essence. You'll be praised for the version of you they want to control. You'll be given titles, rewards, opportunities, each one a temptation to compromise. And that's the final trap, comfort disguised as success. You'll be told you've made it, but you'll know in your bones you haven't, because success that costs you your sovereignty is failure in disguise. As Nietzsche warned, whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. You must remain vigilant. The most dangerous prison is the one that looks like a palace. This is where most men sell their soul, not out of malice, but out of weariness. They're tired. Tired of walking alone. Tired of carrying the weight. Tired of being misunderstood. So they settle. Not all at once, but slowly. They start saying yes when they mean no. Start staying quiet when their soul screams to speak. They let comfort seduce them back into the cage, but now the bars are gold and the doors open, and they tell themselves they're still free. But deep down they know they've betrayed something sacred. And once you betray your truth for applause, the applause owns you. So the question becomes, can you carry your truth without needing anyone to understand it? Can you keep going even when no one is watching? Can you stay rooted when praise and blame sound the same? That's when you know you are free. When you no longer need the world to echo your truth, because your life already does. You become the echo of your own alignment. Your actions speak louder than your words. Your presence becomes your message. Here, your relationships take on a new shape. You no longer look for people to complete you. You don't need anyone to fix you, heal you, or validate you. You are whole. And from that wholeness you connect without needing, without clinging, without controlling. You don't fear losing people because you no longer lose yourself. You love with open hands. You listen without defense. You speak without manipulation. And when a relationship no longer aligns, you let go without bitterness, without drama, without collapse. Now you begin to lead not from position, but from presence. You don't command others, you invite them. You don't impose, you inspire. People follow not because you ask, but because you are. Because your life reflects a level of clarity that they've only tasted in glimpses. You become a mirror, not showing them who they are, but who they could be if they stopped lying. And that makes you dangerous, not because you threaten them, but because you awaken them. And few things are more threatening than waking up in a world built on sleep. You also begin to feel the weight of your influence. Every word you speak carries more. Every silence echoes louder. Every decision ripples further. And this is where you must become ruthless with your integrity. No half-truths. No convenient forgettings. No spiritual bypassing. You must live the truth you speak. You must embody the path you walk. Because if you don't, the power you've developed will become poison first to others, then to yourself. So you simplify. You cut away distractions. You stop chasing. You stop proving. You spend more time in nature, more time in silence, more time listening. You become less reactive to life and more responsive to truth. You stop trying to control outcomes and start aligning with principles. You learn to trust not in fate, but in reality. Not in what you want, but in what is. And this trust makes you unbreakable. Because your peace is not based on circumstance, it's based on congruence. You also become more selfless, but not in the way society teaches. You don't sacrifice yourself to please others. You serve from overflow. You give without attachment. You help without needing to be seen. You mentor without needing to be followed. Because you no longer need to be anything other than who you are. And being who you are is the most generous thing you can offer the world. At this stage, suffering doesn't disappear, it transforms. Pain still comes. Loss still hurts, but you no longer resist it. You welcome it. You learn from it. You let it strip away whatever is false. You don't hide from your darkness, you integrate it. You don't fear your shadow, you dance with it. Because you know that wholeness isn't light without dark, it's the union of both. And now you begin to see what this whole journey was really about. It was never about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming unshakably you. It was never about control. It was about truth. And truth, when fully lived, is uncontrollable. Because it answers to no one. It bends to no system. It follows no trend. It simply is. And when you become that kind of man, you don't need to fight for freedom, you are freedom. So now, ask yourself the question that only you can answer. What part of you still bows to fear? What lie are you still living? What truth are you still afraid to speak? What would it cost you to live in full alignment, and what would it cost you not to? You were not born to be controlled. You were not born to shrink, to please, to perform like a puppet on strings made of shame. You were born to awaken, to burn, to rise. To become the kind of man who walks through fire and comes out cleaner, not colder. The kind of man who doesn't need to control others because he has mastered himself. The kind of man who loves without attachment, leads without ego, speaks without fear. This is not a myth. This is not a fantasy. This is a path. And it is open now. But only if you're willing to pay the price. Because becoming the man no one can control doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming real.